everybody, I'm Maddy from the Northern Rockies Museum, and this week, as part of the Learning Railway, in conjunction with the Hinton Municipal Library for the TD Summer Reading Program, we are going to be spinning our own yarn from wool. So I'm really excited today to show you guys about spinning your own yarn, and we're actually going to be making a pretty cool bracelet after from all of our hard work. So I'm wearing my bracelet here from the yarn that I spun on my drop spindle. And so you guys should all have a little package here. If you don't have one of these packages, you can go onto our Teachers Pay Teachers site and check out the supplies that you'll need to complete this project. So we are going to be working with alpaca fiber today. And so I have a bunch of alpaca fiber here, and this is the same alpaca fiber that's in the kits if you did pick up a kit. And so this is straight off the alpaca. The alpaca's name is Paco, which is funny because the scientific name of alpacas is Paco Paco. So a play on words there. So alpacas have different type of fur fiber than a sheep does. So alpacas have fiber on their bodies and sheep have wool. And fiber is closer to hair, like the stuff that you have on your head, than wool is. Alpaca fiber is also a lot lighter and stronger than sheep wool is, and it does repel water rather than absorb it like wool does. So it's really good for a lot of things. It can be a little more difficult to work with at times, but you guys are going to be champs at this by the end of this class today. So here is all of my wool, and the very first thing that you would do is, after you shear your alpaca off, you would wash all of your fiber. So this is pretty much right off the alpaca. We skip the washing stage, but we do need to card our wool, or our fiber rather. So the stuff that you guys have in your bags has already been carded. I did that on our fancy drum carder here. And what you're doing when you're carding is you're aligning all of the fibers in one direction so that they'll spin and twist better. You're just kind of brushing it out. So if we look here, I have this right here. These are some paddle carders here. So very simple here is you take your brushes and you'd add a bit of your fiber onto them, and you would just start to brush them out like this. And we're trying to get the fibers all to go into one direction, brushing them out nice like that. That takes a lot of time though. So we are going to use our fancy drum carder here, and that's this guy here. So this is a drum carder, and it makes life a lot easier. So all we do is we take some of our wool here, and I'm just going to take some of this. And these two drums have lots of little tiny teeth on them, and they're going to comb all of our fibers into one direction and make a bat of fiber for us. So we're just going to turn this, and it is a lot of work. I got a good workout making all of your guys' bats for you. Once you get all the fibers brushed out that are on there, you're gonna add some more fiber into your drum carder here. So I have a full bat on my large drum here, and now I'm going to pull it off. So I've got it here, and now I can just take this fiber and I'm just gonna kind of roll it down. Let's right, so we've got now this nice big bat of nicely brushed fiber, and you can see that all of the fiber is going in one direction now, which is going to make this so much easier when we start to work with it on our drop spindle. So I'm probably going to run this through the drum carder one more time just to make sure that it's all been nicely brushed out, and then we'll be ready for our drop spindle. So here is my bat that I have, my batting here. So after you have made your bat, this is something that could go in the middle of a quilt. So a long time ago, quilts didn't have synthetic fibers or man-made fibers in the inside of it. It would just be all wool like this. So you would just use your drum carder and make various bats to go on the inside of your quilt. But today we are going to be turning this into yarn using our drop spindle. So what I need you guys to do is roll out your bat so that it's all nice and flat like this. And we're going to split it up into sections or rovings to start with the process of turning it into yarn. So you're just going to want to take kind of a section off of the top here, and we're just going to pull down like this. So we've got kind of a chunk here, and I'm just going to kind of keep doing that. We want to be gentle. We want to make sure we don't get it all nice and knotted up again after it's all been nicely brushed. So just pull that all out. There, so I'm just gonna have these two for now. Great. Next thing you'll need to do is to get your drop spindle out from your kit. And the drop spindle is really easy to make if you're at home. It's simply a piece of dowel with a hook screwed in at the top. And then I've cut a piece of Coroplast plastic. I've put a cross or an X shape in the middle of it. And I've also cut a line down on this side here, and it all makes sense in a minute. So you're going to take your drop spindle, your dowel here, and you're going to stick it through that X shape like that, and we're going to push it up so that it's near the top, just like that. And that's really it. That's all we need to do to start. So I'm going to take my one roving here, and I'm going to start making my yarn. So I am going to very gently pull on the fibers, very, very, very gently. Pull on the fibers like that until I get a size of yarn that I want. So I think that's pretty good. And I'm just going to spin it right now. Just gonna twist it up like this. So as we're twisting the yarn, we're making it really strong. So if you pull now, it's not gonna come apart. I'm pulling very hard. But if I was to pull on the yarn, or the fiber rather, without it being twisted, it's going to come apart like this one did. So let's try this again. We're gonna just spin this. And this is the start of our yarn here. So spin it. I think that's pretty good. Pull on it. It seems pretty tight. And so we're going to take this and we're going to hook it onto the end of our drop spindle. And we're just going to twist these two pieces together here. The end all nice up. So you should have your fiber is all twisted onto your drop spindle like this. So I've just grabbed a marker and I'm gonna cheat a little bit here, and you guys should too. You should always, you should always make sure that your yarn, when you're spinning it, you're spinning in the same direction. So I'm going to draw an arrow in the direction that I am always going to be spinning, so that I know I'm going the right way. Because if you go in the opposite direction, you're gonna unwind your yarn. So I'm just going to spin this up again here, just like that. I'm going to slowly go up my fiber here, and I'm going to spin some more. So once you get to a part where you have reached all your twisting, you need to then just pull some more on your fiber, stretch it out a little bit like this, and you are going to spin again and make sure that you are, and make sure that you are spinning in the same direction. And I'm gonna spin just like my arrow told me to. It's my drop spindle. So I've got a really long piece of yarn here. It's getting too much for me to work with. So I'm gonna start wrapping it up. So what you do is you find that little slit that was in your piece of coroplast, and you're gonna slide your yarn down into that like that. And you're gonna wrap your yarn underneath the piece of coroplast. Just like that. Leave a little bit out, about this much out, and you're gonna go through that slice in the coroplast again, and then up and around your hook, and then you can start again with your spinning. So I'm gonna pull some more out here. Pull some more. I'm just going to spin again. So I usually spin it until it starts to turn in the other direction. So I'll show you what I mean. So I'm gonna spin it, and it started turning the other way. So I'm gonna stop it right there. And we're gonna go again. We'll do some more here. So I'm just gonna pull gently. Pull gently. And we'll try again. And when you guys are doing this at home, you can do this more on the ground. I'm doing it like this so you can see, which is making it a little more difficult. But I've got a good chunk here again, so I am going to pull it off from here, and I'm gonna wrap it underneath my spindle part here. And repeat the process. So what would happen if you ripped your fiber? So let's say you pulled too hard on here. So I'm just gonna pull. Oh no. It's broken apart now, and I still have all this fiber to work with. Should I stop my spinning now? Nope, you can rejoin them together. So I'm just gonna take this end here, I'm gonna take this end, I'm gonna join them together, and I'm just gonna give them a little bit of a twist. Like that. And we'll twist them together with our spindle. And just like that, it is one piece of yarn again. So I finished off that first bit of fiber that I had, so it's all spun underneath here. And I am now going to set this yarn so that it doesn't unravel, because if we were to spin this all out again, it would all unravel and then just become individual fibers again, and we don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold on to this one end and we are going to wrap it over this coroplast piece that we have here, just like this, in those little grooves there. Make sure you don't lose the end. That's important. And we're just going to wrap all of our yarn on this piece here. Got my two ends here, and now I'm just going to tie them together at the top there. Make sure you don't lose this knot, that's important. Great, so now we've got all of our yarn on our piece of plastic here, and now we're going to put this into some hot water, not boiling water, but hot water for about 15 minutes. So I pulled out my soggy, kind of gross yarn from the water. As you can see, it's all dripping here. And I'm gonna take it off of my piece of plastic here. So pretty easy, you just kind of need to bend it and pop it over like that. Great, and now, oops. And now we've got some soggy yarn. So what we're going to do, just to kind of do another finishing touch on it, is we're gonna kind of slap it around a little bit. So you're gonna hold it like this, and you're gonna, and then pull it out a little bit, and do it again. And we're just gonna keep doing that. And again, it's just kind of setting the fibers a bit more inside, and it's lots of fun. Okay, so it's looking pretty good. So I am going to cut the where the knot is here. So you guys can get a pair of scissors. I'm just gonna cut this, or you can untie it. There, and just to make sure that I did this right, I wanna make sure that my yarn isn't gonna untwist on me. And so if I hold it up, oops, if I hold it up, does it spin around? Nope, it stays in place. And that's exactly what we want to do. We don't want it spinning around because then it's gonna untwist. So it looks like this is pretty good. Oh, I got a clump there. But pull this all out. Great, so we've got some yarn that we can do something with. So we're actually going to make a bracelet right now. So what we need to do to make our bracelet is we're going to fold our yarn in half. Fold your yarn in half, about here. And then, this is a little tricky here, we are going to fold about 2/3 of our yarn like this. Let me just cut this end off, we don't need this. So you should have, there's a folded part down here, and there's a fold up here, and you've got, should have kind of 4 lines coming down off of this one here. Just like that. So this is going to be the start of our bracelet. So we are going to tie a knot up at this point right here. So I'm gonna take this loop, and I'm just going to tie it around in a knot. You can get your help from your guardian there to do that. We want to make sure that there's a bit of a loop left. We don't want to tie it tight because that loop is going to hold our bracelet together at the end. So I've got a bit of a loop here, like that. And then what we need to do is we need to cut this end right here. We don't need it folded, we need it to be separate. So you should have 4 separate pieces of string on here that are tied together, 2 short and 2 long. And so to start on our bracelet, we're actually going to come back to this piece of plastic. And there should be a cut on the side of this plastic right there. And what you're going to do is you're going to take that knot and you are going to slide that knot in there so that it's held in place for you, just like that. And now we're gonna switch views so that you can watch my hands do it a little better. So we're gonna go and have an aerial view. So I just grabbed some tape, and you can tape down this piece so it's not moving around. That might make it a little easier for you. So the first thing we need to do is we need to put our two shorter strings in the middle of our two longer strings. So I'm pulling the long strings off to the side, ooh, like this, and then I've got my two shorter strings in the middle. Let me just pull them apart so you can see there, like this. So the first step is we're gonna take the string on the right and we're going to place it over top of the middle strings, placing it over top of the middle strings. We're gonna take our left string, we're gonna place it over the right string. So it's over top. We're gonna put it under the middle string, so I'm going under the middle strings, and then through this hole. Make sure you go under the hole. Under that hole, and then we're gonna pull it tight. Okay, so that is our first knot done. So now we just need to keep doing that. So we're going to put our right string over our two middle strings. We're going to put our left string over that right string, under the middle strings, and under and through the right string. And then we're going to pull. So we'll do this a couple more times. So right string over the middle two, left string over the right one, under the middle and through, under and through this hole. And we're going to pull. We're just going to keep doing this. So I want to add a bead onto my bracelet, just like I have on this one that I'm wearing right now. So you guys should find some beads at the bottom of your kit. So I'm going to put the bead through the two middle strings, and it might be a little difficult, so I find the best way to get the bead on is to fold the pieces of yarn in half, and then you're going to stick those little bits into your bead, and then take a pencil or something pokey and then poke the yarn through your bead, and then you'll just pull it out on the other side and pull. Oops. Make sure you get both of them. We've got both of them. Great. And so we're gonna do exactly like we did before, but around the bead. So we're gonna go over, the two middle pieces with our right one. The left one's gonna go under the right one, under the middle, and up and through this loop here. Great. So now you can keep making your bracelet on from there. So I'm not gonna go all the way with my bracelet here. I am going to just finish this and use it maybe as a little bit of a keychain, but I wanna show you guys what to do if you do wanna make it into a bracelet like the one that I'm wearing right now. So you'd wanna take it off of your piece of plastic here, and you'd wanna make sure that it's long enough for your wrist. They do stretch out quite a bit because this was tight to my wrist yesterday. So you wanna wrap it around your wrist. Make sure it's pretty tight there. So you wanna make sure that you have your knot all the way to right to your loop on the other side. And you're gonna hold that with your finger. You're gonna make a knot right there. So let's pull all these through. Make a really good knot. And then make another knot in the exact same spot. So it's really big. Like that. And now you can just cut that. And then to wear the bracelet, you just put your knot through your loop that you made earlier. And that's it. So I'm just gonna put that through, and there's our bracelet that we were working on. Pretty good. And here's my one from the other day. Thanks guys so much for watching this edition of the Learning Railway for the TD Summer Reading Program. I hope you learned lots about making yarn. Imagine all the work that goes into making a sweater or a scarf if you are starting right from the fiber, right off of the animal, all the way to knitting or crocheting that scarf or sweater. It's a lot of work. And I'm sure that you understand that now after having to make your own yarn from a drop spindle. There are other different types of ways of spinning yarn. There are spinning wheels, and you can check those out online if you do a quick search for that. And there's also different types of fiber that you can spin, or wool that you can spin as well. In fact, there are some plants in our local area that you can spin. So the seeds of a fireweed plant, which we talked about last week, making tea, they get quite fluffy, and you can use that fluff very delicately to spin. It's very difficult, but you can do it. You can also use the hair from big fluffy dogs. You can make that into yarn as well, which is pretty cool. And all of the different types of fiber and wool have different properties. So you guys, now that you have your very own drop spindle, you can test out some different things and see if you can spin it yourself, which is kind of a neat challenge. If you watch this video, please let me know in the comments below so we can enter into the draw with the Hinton Municipal Library for the TD Summer Reading Program. There's some great prizes, and the grand prize is going to be drawn in just a couple of weeks. We only have one more class left, which is pretty sad, but that is quill making and bookbinding, and that one's gonna be lots of fun. We're using real goose feathers for that one that have been locally sourced, just like this alpaca fiber was, and thanks to the Lehman Exchange for giving us this fiber to do that. If you have any questions about spinning wool, please come to the museum. I will have the drum carder here for a couple of weeks, so you guys can come and test it out yourself and test out the paddle carding as well, and see how good you are. It takes a lot of effort to do it. I know I got a great workout when I was carding your guys' wool. Thanks again for joining us on the Learning Railway, and we hope to see you back next time.